You cheat until you get caught, yes?
Okay.
TikTok is not in China. Let that sink in for a minute. Of the almost how many people, 1 point something billion people that live in China, TikTok is not allowed in China. What's going on? What's happening
Breaking
today?
news. Breaking news.
Okay. Start
What's going
here.
on with TikTok? So the U.S. House passes a bill that could force TikTok to cut ties with its Chinese owner or be banned from the U.S. Like, what's going on with TikTok? Why are they bothering us?
Yeah, I know you love your TikTok, but there are serious issues at play that the average user is not even aware of. I think it's something that we need to talk about. What do you say?
Of course, like, why is the U.S. government trying to take TikTok from us?
I don't think we can cover everything about TikTok in this video. So I'll caution you from now to get a full and broad and sweeping understanding of what's going on in TikTok. When I will talk about it over a period of time. But let me see if I can frame the issues or the fundamental issue in a nutshell, and then we can expand. One of the problems with TikTok is that we have we have competing superpowers. America is the dominant military superpower and to an extent the dominant economic power. Then there is China. China spies on everybody. The culture of China is one where the Chinese Communist Party controls the lives of every Chinese citizen. And when I say control, I do mean control. Everywhere you go in the world, especially every major capital of the world, you can't go 10 feet without a camera seeing you or something. But in China, the spying and social engineering is on steroids. China is the only place you can we have 10 million people live in a city. And within, let's say, 2 hours of announcing everybody is supposed to stay indoors, you have empty streets, not even cat and dog walking on the street. Um, China, the Communist Party is China, and China is a Communist Party. Where if you are a Chinese, and it doesn't matter if you are in mainland China or, let us say, my phrase, international China, which is the rest of the world, the Chinese government spies on you. Case in point, there was an issue, I think it was last year, where the FBI and the local authorities had to shut down a Chinese police station in, I think it was New York, in the US. Now, let that sink in for a minute. What are you talking about? A Chinese police station in the United States of America, in New York.
Okay.
The yeah, yes, it sounds crazy. You see, I'm explaining the society of China so that you can understand the issues with TikTok. So when you leave China, let us say you come to the United States as a student, or you come here as a businessman, or you come here as an entrepreneur. The Chinese government expects you to spy on their behalf. And they enforce this. I bet you have never ever seen a Chinese citizen criticizing the Chinese government in the United States. They're not joining that fight because they know that if they have family left behind in China, that family is in jeopardy. They know that their lives in the United States is in jeopardy. And the Chinese police, and when I say police, I mean police. Like they're attached to the whatever it is in China. They come and they visit you. They come and they knock on your door, and they make their presence known. So they were I think they were arrested and then asked to leave the United States. But I'm saying this for you to understand that the issue surrounding TikTok is not just one of a competing software, like maybe competing with Facebook or whatever it is. TikTok has control of United States citizen data or data, if you like. Whenever you sign up for TikTok, most users, you download, you go through the normal steps, you download, you put in your name,
Yeah,
whatever,
like every other app.
like every other app. The problem is not like every other app. Every other app is US based or usually based in a friendly country. China is not friendly to anybody.
But wait,
China,
one question.
mm,
Couldn't it be a case where we understand that China, like you said, spies on everybody? How
mhm.
do we know that at one point China didn't realize that TikTok has become this is used almost worldwide? And so they know that they couldn't continue to do their spying thing. Because it has gone to the United States and the USA, the UK and Canada. And couldn't it be a case where they'll be like, I need to draw back on the data that we collect because it's getting international and we don't want problems? Couldn't it be a case like that?
I want to say it this way. You cheat until you get caught, yes?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. People, governments, especially Western governments, planning 4-year and 5-year cycle. Like currently, America is going through its election cycle, and whoever wins will frame the U.S. policy for the next 4 years. And if he wins a successive term, he wins. He frames the policy for 8 years, right? And that's the policy. Bush had his. Obama had his policy. We talk about Obamacare and whatever it is. Trump had his. I know we are Biden. That's how Western governments go to work. China is not like that. China plans in terms of the next 100 years. I had a friend who was a Chinese. Well, he's Chinese. And he said to me, based on my position at the time, I was in a political position back in my home country. And he said he wanted to buy a particular mountain. Now, in our mind, this piece of mountain is a nuisance because it's loose dirt, it has a lot of rocks in it, and it keeps rolling off the hill onto the road below. And you have to be doing cleaning up and all that kind of thing. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why you want to buy a hill. It's useless, nothing grows on it. It barely can sustain trees. He says to me, he wants to have it, he wants to own it and put it down for his grandchildren. So at some point, they will mine the stones from it. Now, this guy at the time was in his 40s with a family, but he was thinking about owning something for his grandchildren. And he was not even was his children, his grandchildren. And he explained to me that is how Chinese they think. China is everybody else is playing draft. China or checkers for some people. Some of us understand draft, some people understand checkers. China, where everybody is playing checkers, China is playing chess. China doesn't do anything by chance. And if you understand the concept of the government of China and the people of China and the businesses that come out of China are inseparable. If you were to do a deep dive into the ownership of these companies, you'll find that they are card-carrying members of the Communist Party of China. Now, you see, certain concepts is hard for us to understand because we live in a Western country where we have free and fair election and you get to choose your next leader and whatever it is. You can't change the leader of China unless he dies. You can't change the leader of North Korea unless he dies. He's leader for life. Putin is, for want of a better word, leader for life. These people are leaders for life, and the party owns you, and you are the party. And everything they do is centered around sustaining these guys at the top, including socially engineering their citizens, spying on their citizens, and dictating how their citizens go to work. In China, TikTok is not in China. Let that sink in for a minute. Of the almost, how many people, 1 point something billion people that live in China, TikTok is not allowed in China. There's a version out of which TikTok
they have already collected. Sorry? I'm saying maybe they've already collected all the information they need.
No. These people. All right, so let's do a little bit of history. Because, like I said, I'm going to try and frame some of the issues, but we're going to get into deeper subsequent videos. ByteDance is the parent company of TikTok. Funny thing is that I think almost half of the board members of ByteDance are Americans. American companies are American people, right? But the 25% of the board that is owned by Chinese is not by chance. If and let me back up a minute. If a company has on its board with 3/4 of people coming from the rest of the world, but 25% is owned by Chinese, why should we have a problem with that? That should be fine. Yeah? No. You see that 25% of Chinese is not by chance. China has a policy where if you go to China to start a company, regardless of what the company is, it has to have Chinese quote unquote ownership. And it is that Chinese ownership that makes it the problem. Because unlike the United States or other Western countries, where if you want information about a particular person or data about a particular person, you have to get a court order, you have to get a subpoena, you have to go to the legal channels, yes? And these are subjected to challenges in the court. In China, anybody from any spy agency, any police agency can walk in and say, hey, hand over all of your information, and they can sift through that and do whatever they want with it. And I'll get into that in a little bit, right? So there is a concern. The other thing is that China steals technology. If you are a US company and you go to China and you want to start a business, that ownership by law, by policy, that the Chinese, what they do is they study your technology, they capture your technology, and then the next thing you know, they replicate the technology. So now you see you are making shoes, a particular brand of shoes, and you have copyright laws and this and that and whatever it is. In China, give them a week, give them 6 months, and you will see those shoes being manufactured by 6 other Chinese companies. Yeah? As far as I know, the only company that so far has been able to go to China without having Chinese ownership is Tesla, and that's another story for another day. But yes, your point.
So question. So what was the point of the court case that they had the other day with the owner of TikTok? Where they asked him all these questions, and first of all, the gentleman spoke so well. I love him. But they asked all these questions, and he basically denied sharing the people's data on TikTok. Like, the man spoke so well, you have no reason not to believe him. So why are we continuing? Why we just skip over that? Like, he didn't say anything and he's just continuing trying to.
First of all, it's kind of it was a hearing that they had in Congress. Congress has the power to call in people, ask them any question they want to call them, like court.
Right.
So it was a hearing in Congress, and they were expressing these concerns about ownership, about the privacy laws, about the spying, whatever it. Poor fellow, to his credit, answered, and I suspect he answered truthfully. I will not sit here and say the gentleman was lying, because I watched the interview and I read body language. He wasn't lying. He answered to what he knew, and he answered to the question that he was asked. Here's the funny thing about this guy, though. If he answers the question, but tomorrow morning somebody walks in and flashes a badge and says, "Hey, we are here from the Communist Party, and we need access to your data," you think he can tell them no?
Probably not.
No, there's not a problem in that. I'm telling you as I sit here, he cannot tell the government of China no, they can't get it. He has to turn it over, because that is how their law and their society is set up. They can't turn it over. You see, one of the issues at hand is what the US government and every other government is saying. We want our citizens' data to be owned by, in this case, America, managed by Americans, residing in America, not residing in China, where your data, your privacy is subject to manipulation. Because this is what a lot of people don't understand. Let me explain something. Let me throw this into the mix. Let us say a 16-year-old or an 18-year-old signs up to TikTok, right? At 16 and 18, you don't have one bit of sense. I was stupid at 16 and 18. Probably still do. But here's the thing. You're in your bathroom and you're dancing and you're carrying on. You're being your childish self, doing your thing, whatever it is. You decide to shoot a nude video. You might have certain sexual predilections. You might be doing drugs in the bathroom. You might be doing it at home. You might have your little boyfriend and you decided to exchange some nude pictures or some pictures of you doing something very you don't want nobody to see. You know the things that people do in private, and people listening, you know all the crazy things that we as human beings do in the privacy of our home. Yes. Now you're at 18 and 6. You're 16 and 18. Who is going to see that? You videoed that. Or you sent it on to your friend, or you posted. There's nothing wrong with that. But guess what happened? 10 years time, you are now age 26, finished university, and you have gotten a job with the US government. Yeah?
Yes.
Those videos that you posted to TikTok can now be used to blackmail you as a government official.
So you're saying that TikTok likely have access to all these?
Because we are dealing with it. It's not TikTok is the problem. You know? This is what people are missing. The problem is not with TikTok, because the band, as it is called, is not a band. We are simply saying transfer your ownership from the Communist Party. It's not even China so much. The Communist Party. Transfer your ownership from the Communist Party to anybody else but not the Communist Party, because we have these concerns, right?
And they're free to say, aren't they free to say no?
Yeah, they're free to say no, but if you say no, you can operate in the US. And
listen,
here's another
TikTok has become a part of us. Like, I wake up in the morning and the first thing I take up before I say good morning, honey, I go on TikTok to see what's the latest screen recording from last night while I was asleep. You know what I mean? My daily updates is now on TikTok. I get the news on TikTok. I get entertainment on TikTok. I get relationship advice on TikTok. I get everything on TikTok. Like,
I'm going to ask you a question. Would you say that you're addicted to TikTok?
I wouldn't say addicted, but I need TikTok every day. I need it.
So you're addicted to TikTok in a roundabout way.
You can't say that. Like everybody else.
Which is one of the reasons that the government put forward. Let me ask you this question. Why would countries like Australia, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, the European Union, of all the countries in Europe, France, Latvia, New Zealand, Norway, Taiwan, the UK, United States, why do all of these countries, and India, but India is not on my list, but India is one of them. Why is it that all of these countries, what is it that they know that we who love TikTok don't know? That they would ban some of them are partial and complete ban. Some of them are total banning. No TikTok. Or if you work with government, you can't have TikTok. Is there something that they know that we don't know, that we should know?
Probably.
I'll throw one into the mix, because I want to get more in depth to this TikTok issue later on. I'll throw one into the mix. You know what it's called? Keylogging?
No.
Back in my other life, when I was not so well behaved, we were able to I am a techie, so let's for our audience out there, let me throw it out there. I am a techie. I know things about the computer that the average computer user does not know. I used to build them, fix them, program them, or whatever. One of the things that we used to put on computers was a thing called a keylogger. A keylogger is a bit of software that companies, private individuals, lovers who wants to spy on their girlfriends and boyfriends, we put a keylogger on the computer. The keylogger is a piece of software that sits in the background and it logs every key that you press on the computer. So for example, I can steal your username and your password by inserting a keylogger. If I have access to your phone or your computer or any electronic device and I install a keylogger, I can set up the keylogger that everything that you type on the computer, it emails to me. So now I know who is the sneaky link that you're denying that you don't know, that you're texting and all that kind of thing. Now I have access to all your banking and whatever it is, software. Now I have access to all your login information to your workplace. That's what a keylogger does.
Okay. Thanks for
TikTok is suspected of having that capability.
Okay.
What is so dangerous about having that capability? It means that if you work in a sensitive government department, somebody can log your login information and access the people financial records if you work at the IRS, or sensitive government data if you work at FBI, NSA, or any one of these 3-letter agencies. Yes. Somebody you are married, and to the public you're happily married, having a wonderful life, 2 kids or whatever it is, but you are carrying out a cheating relationship, because cheating comes in many forms, yes, that your husband doesn't know about, but somebody wants to blackmail you, so they slide up beside you in the supermarket and say, hey, you want to save your marriage? We happen to know that you are dating, you're seeing John, because we have all the emails and the text messages. So let's tell you what, we need you to do this for us. Those are some of the issues that are out there.
So let me ask one question. Do you think that if TikTok originated from anywhere else outside of China, do you think this would be happening today? Do you think we'll be even having this type of conversation?
Short answer, no. And let me explain that answer. Some of the software that we use on our computers, everyday innocuous software. For example, some of our we call it antivirus and firewall. A lot of them are not from America. Some of them are from Sweden and Finland and Israel. America don't have a problem with it. Because why? They are friends of America. They are allies of America.
But
China is an enemy of America.
Yeah, but you do also realize that TikTok is huge. Like, how much people use TikTok. It also makes sense that they would come under attack because they are big. And America just want to cut out of the cake. Just want a slice of the cake.
Well, we could argue that, but no. Look. In my culture, we call that bad man. Yes. As a matter of fact, we have an expression in my culture where we say, "Thief never like to see a thief carry a long bag." Yes. We can translate that for the non-Jamaicans in the audience that later did. But those are not the issues. Here's the thing. Here's one of the problems that TikTok is facing. TikTok could easily transfer ownership to a U.S. company or form a U.S. Go down to the registrar of company, register a thing and whatever it is. But currently TikTok is valued at almost $100 billion. Somebody has to put up $100 billion to buy TikTok. So it's a valuable company. Yes, it is valued roughly when I'm not just talking because companies are priced in different ways. Not a story that for another day. But we're talking almost $100 billion. Now, can a US company afford it? Yes, they can. But TikTok has to be willing to say, hey, we want to comply with the US laws. And so therefore, can you partner with us? We will give up 25% of whatever the same share ownership that the Communist Party, and I keep using the word Communist Party and not China, that the Communist Party owns in TikTok. Let's make it 100% Western owned. Why are you fighting so hard?
Okay, so in a roundabout way, why is the US trying to take TikTok from us? Tell me once again.
No, they're not. They're not taking TikTok away from us. They're just simply saying, be 100% us. You can continue to grow to 500 million users.
But they have said that.
Yes,
they quit as the CEO of TikTok and he denied all the allegations that they had. What else do they want the TikTok to do?
Love, let me explain something. Do you know what is the greatest trick of the devil?
What's the greatest trick of the devil?
The greatest invention of the devil is war. The greatest trick of the devil is to convince people that he doesn't exist. I have a simple test that I use against so-called pastors and shepherds of the flock. If you come to me and said, I saw the devil, and he had claw feet, and he had horns, and he was carrying a pitchfork, and he was fearful and whatever it is, and he was looking, yeah, something that you should be running away from, I know right away that you're a false preacher. Because why? The devil was an angel of light. For him to influence you, he's not going to come to you as somebody who you're going to run away from. He's that handsome guy that driving a nice car, that dressed nice, that the cologne is out there. That's the one that is going to cause you to cheat. It is the girl that Buxton beauty, that voluptuous shape, that effervescent smile, that just beguiling. That's the one that's going to cause your boyfriend to cheat. That's how the devil comes to you. So I have a simple test. So it's the same way. TikTok come and you love it, and it is the best thing since sliced bread and cooked food, and we all gravitate to it because I have a TikTok account. So I don't feel like I don't have a TikTok account. I probably I can get one tomorrow. I don't know. I have a TikTok account, right? But as somebody who has been around from the foundation of the internet, I have watched the birth of Google, the birth of Facebook, the birth of me all like dirt. I'm sorry. But when you say, I know where all the bones are buried, and I am sorry to say it, but I know where all the skeletons in the closet, whatever it is. And as such, I know the issues at hand. I am not particularly fond of our US tech companies either, because Facebook and Instagram, they have their own skeletons around the back, around there, and I happen to know where a few of them are. But TikTok represents a more immediate danger that needs to be addressed. We can fight the minor demons later, but this big one, this dragon, we need to take care of this one.
You're just hating.
Well, guess what? Somebody has to be a guardian. You see, there are a lot of issues at hand. Somebody has to stand watch while the baby sleep. Yes, we have become so lulled into, society where freedom. I'll tell you, every soldier will tell you this: freedom is not free. Somebody had to go face the bullet. Somebody had to stand in the breach. Somebody had to be the shield and the sword. The U.S. government is protecting its citizens, and I will go on record as saying I agree with them to a point, because let me throw this into the mix, because I'm not just piling on TikTok, right? I agree with the U.S. government to a point, but they also need to look inward, because we have Instagram, yes, we have Facebook, yeah, we have Google, Bing, all of these. How many times have you had a conversation about, I would like to, I need to get me, I need to get something for my patio. You never said it to anybody. You just had a conversation in the presence of your friend. But next thing you know, every advertisement since then is about patio furniture.
Well, guess what? I think the US government is just, I understand they have concerns, but the US government is just afraid that China or TikTok came and did what they wanted to do all along. They're just sorry that they were the ones to destroy us.
No,
they cursed us.
Listen. I hear you.
TikTok is just braver than them. You know what I mean? Like China, they don't care. They have their people over there. They control them.
You had parents, right? And your parents used to warn you about some things. Like, for example, I tell my son, stop trying to be an adult so fast. Stop trying to grow up so fast. Enjoy your childhood. Now he's an adult and he's working and he's having adult problems. He has to answer to a boss. He has to think about saving money. He's tired, he's exhausted because of the long hours and all that kind of thing. And I'm just saying to him just about 2 days ago, you remember when I used to tell you so? Yes, Daddy. Well, there you go. You see, people don't want to know. You ever hear some people groaning and whatever? It's not pain, it's the fact that they have to be thinking about stuff. Thinking and being aware and being vigilant is hard work, right? And in this case, I think the US government is being proactive, they're being vigilant because they know, like many other governments around the world, because China's listen, don't be fooled by China. Let me say this. China, and I think I said it already, China plans long term. I'll give you an example. China will come to countries in the Caribbean, Jamaica, Trinidad, whatever it is. They'll go to these countries who are poor, depressed, underdeveloped, third world countries. They know they are facing economic challenges. They know their successive governments want to stay in power, and they have a citizen that is demanding things from the government. China knows that. China has a big bank account because it's China, yeah? They go to these governments and they say, hey, we can give you $10 billion, we can give you $100 billion to build your road and your bridges and your whatever, right? What's wrong with that? Beggars have no choosers, favorable loan terms, whatever. The thing is, the money that China is offering is part of a long-term goal, which is called the Belt and Road Initiative, right? And I'll explain that at a later date. But in passing, it's called the Belt and Road Initiative as a name. When these countries build the roads and they build the airports and the wharves and the whatever it is, but then they run into a situation where the loan becomes due in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years time, and you can't pay it. Guess what the first thing China says to them? All right, no worries. We'll waive the payment for the next 5 years, interest-free. Give us your port, your seaport. Give us your airport. We'll take control of that. Flights can go in and out or whatever it is. No, that itself seems reasonable. Yeah? Well, sure. Instead of us paying $5 billion, you get the port and you manage the port and whatever it is, and the country continues to grow. The problem is that decision, that request by China, is a militarily strategic request, because if you look at where China has done this all over the world, it is their way of creating advanced forward operating bases. So in event of a war, these ports that they control all of a sudden becomes Chinese military bases where they can move their ships and their troops into. And that is part of their plan, and it is written down and it is discussed in the Chinese military, and it is a strategic plan of theirs, and countries of the world know it because they have talked about it.
That's a lot to digest.
It's a lot to digest, but that, you see, I'm trying to frame the issue in terms of the demon or the devil that we are dealing with. Hence the reason why countries are concerned about TikTok, and it's not just the United States alone. And it has serious implications because, like I said, we are in the election cycle, and it is already influencing the United States election. But that we can talk about at a later date.
All right. Well, for now, tell the people to like and subscribe to our channel.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I know sometimes on here we are controversial and we are informative and whatever it is. If you want to hear more, if you want to know when the next video is dropping, and you want to continue this discourse and to be informed negatively or positively or controversially, please press the like button, subscribe, stay tuned.
Okay, and let me just go back and see what's happening on TikTok. Bye.
Okay. All right. Have fun. Oh, they're so banning me today.